Hyundai is now becoming a global market leader. When you consider the volume, I think you're closer to Toyota and Volkswagen than you are to Ford, Nissan, Honda, GM. I mean, what did it take to get here? And what are your hopes for the future as a global automaker?
Well, sure. Well, hopefully we are showing the progress by the sales volume we have done together with the Kia. By the third quarter, and we became the first ever global top 3. And well, this is mainly driven by our strong sales on the SUV, and also the Genesis as well as the EV, where we're focusing on to make a quick transition into the carbon neutral as well. So in overall, I think the brand has been reinforced and to gain the more favor from the customers. That ends up the pretty good numbers, and we're trying to keep this up, to keep up the momentum by introducing more SUVs in the coming years.
Compared with other legacy automakers, Hyundai appears to have a more modest and maybe even realistic target for EVs. There's a lot of debate in the industry around the pace of the EV transition, but do you think you have a good sense of how long the transition will make and how ready you are to introduce the products and have the supporting supply chain for this?
Sure. Yeah, our target is very much specific, to reach out to 1.8 million by year 2030. We are going to increase the capacity first, which is adding our EV capacity on the existing plant, and also creating the EV plants on the global basis as well. But to reach out this, we also need the battery sourcing, where we are thinking how we make a joint venture with the battery makers, as well as we have the long-term offtake in the contract.
What kind of EV experience do you want the customers to have?
One is how reliable, well, in terms of the safety, or in terms of the battery durability, and those things. And performance is also one key. How much longer can you drive is AR, and also how fast, how quickly accelerate the speed. Well, those are things that is related with the performance side. But the usability is some differentiator. Yeah, how the inside of the car is good for your comfort and good for your driving condition.
Quite impressive, but is this going to continue? Like, how much more work are you going to put into making sure you have, the chip supply and the raw materials and everything really for every category going forward?
Yes, for the next year, we believe the demand for the automotive will be about the slight between the 3 to 5% increase, but still we are expecting face the headwinds, including inflation, the pressure, some supply issues into the chips, and etc. So how we manage our supply chain is the key concern. As far as the chip supply is concerned, we're working very hard, our suppliers and the chip makers, by having the long-term offtake contracts. And also our R&D is working very hard to integrate the number of chips, and also developing alternate chips as well.
When you look at specific challenges in overseas markets, some of which we already talked about, where do you see the biggest challenges, but also the biggest opportunities?
Well, US and the Euro market is most important as well. Of course, other markets are very significant, the growth rate that we are showing. But those we see the high growth, the EV is the key concern. So what we are witnessing in US demand is pretty much important to us. So I say how we can penetrate into EV market in the US is one of the key focus, as well as we do the same things in the European market by having the product line to be more competitive.